Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from the Food Theatist about why Americans are suddenly obsessed with Texas Roadhouse. Let's hop in and see what makes the buttered biscuits so good.
Olive Garden
Well, buttered rolls, not biscuits.
has just been beat. After 6 years with the crown of best casual diner in the US, Olive Garden has been dethroned by Texas Roadhouse. Of all places, how the heck did it beat a place where you're family? Well, stick around because the reason might change casual dining for good.
Go on.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the legendary show with legendary theories. And if you're not familiar with that slogan, I don't blame you. I didn't even know that it belongs to the new king of casual diners, Texas
Roadhouse.
That's right, Texas
I didn't know they even had a slogan.
Roadhouse
has taken the top spot and managed to take down the previous champ, Olive Garden. And if you think I'm not going to use that clip at least 4 more times, you're wrong. And if you catch the other 4, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. Now, this is a massive win for Roadhouse. Olive Garden has held that spot since 2018, and suddenly the casual diner all about steak has taken the lead. We've talked on this channel about how casual diners in general have been making a comeback due to factors like their affordability versus the price hikes of fast food, but also the influence Gen Z is beginning to have across multiple industries. Gen Z's preference for socializing and eating food that's of good quality rather than cheaper price seems to be the reason these casual places are coming back to the forefront of dining. But now we're seeing that even within the casual dining industry, some of these chains are seeing significant growth. Texas Roadhouse has seen a 0.7% increase in sales. And it's not just Roadhouse specifically. Longhorn Steakhouse is seeing similar growth with 7.2%, which is way bigger than Olive Garden's 0.8. So is it steak that's driving up these numbers? Or is there a secret ingredient that all the other casual diners are missing from their establishments?
Well, judging from the thumbnail, it has to do with the butter rolls.
Those steakhouses on the grill, because I know the 3 secret ingredients for Texas Roadhouse's rise to success. So let me cook. One of the things that sets Texas Roadhouse apart from other casual diners is the food they serve. Steak has seen a huge increase in demand over the last 5 years, and that all started due to the pandemic. Back when people were unable to go to restaurants and times felt bleak, beef saw a significant increase in retail, specifically the big fat steak. While steak is often seen as a special meal used for celebrations or special occasions, people were longing for some comforting food during the uncertainty of the pandemic, as well as a high-quality meal. This led to people buying steak to cook at home. Not to mention how some people had extra cash to throw around due to the lack of, being able to do anything. In the week ending of March 15th, 2020, the volume of meat sold at grocery stores surged 75% with sales of $900 million. That's $376 million more over the same week in 2019. And over the course of 2020, US households spent more money on meat for at-home consumption compared to 2019.
Oh, you know what? I actually remember my stepdad talking a lot about this.
You get the picture. Beef was becoming more popular than it ever had been. But it wasn't this huge interest in beef that had Texas Roadhouse's sales soaring. It was actually due to the beef shortage caused by this increase in beef sales. You see, many processing plants were forced to close during the pandemic, or at least reduce operations. This resulted in huge shortages of beef. The combination of high demand and reduced supply resulted in a second, sharper wave of price increases from mid-April to mid-May 2020. And some meat cuts experienced price jumps of up to 150%. Suddenly, the thing everyone enjoyed cooking at home became unobtainable, either because the price hikes meant it was no longer affordable, or it just simply wasn't there. So not only was the demand for steak high, the demand for affordable steak was high. So when Texas Roadhouse opened its doors, the chance to eat steak at a reasonable price was finally there. But the interesting thing is, it wasn't just people wanting steak that got Texas Roadhouse on the top casual dining spot. Although Longhorn Steakhouse was another place seeing a rise in sales, Outback Steakhouse, another casual dining steakhouse, didn't see the same boom. In the 2024 American Customer Satisfaction Index, Texas Roadhouse and Longhorn were above average, but Outback saw a 4% decrease and dipped below average. So clearly it's not just the steak that was satisfying the customers. What was Outback doing wrong? The big thing, as it always is with these episodes, is money. Cash rules everything around me. Dollar bills, y'all. With the rise in the cost of beef, Outback raised its menu prices way more aggressively than both Roadhouse and Longhorn. The chain's check
That's
average
why.
was $29 last year, which is
Still good.
$2.50 more than Longhorn and $6 higher than Texas.
Roadhouse.
On the one hand,
Hey,
it's
there we go. That makes us 3 views and 3 left.
understandable. You gotta do what you gotta do to stay in business. On the other hand, customers also started to notice that despite this price hike, Outback's quality was going downhill, which led them to wonder, why are we paying more for a worse experience?
Yeah,
Now, Outback's
why?
move is not out of the ordinary, but it's this exact move that sets Longhorn and Texas Roadhouse apart. And it's the reason Roadhouse is now #1. While prices
Oh,
of
yeah.
steak were increasing for most, Roadhouse said that it would absorb some of the inflation prices to keep costs low for the customer. This put them in good favor with consumers because it kept food affordable. To put into
that's
perspective what this
perfect.
all looked like, Roadhouse increased its menu prices by 2.3%. But commodity inflation has increased 3 to 4%. They've kept it well below, meaning they took a risk of making less money. This was a classy move by Roadhouse. It said
Very
they wanted to
classy.
make sure you, the consumer, could afford to have that steak that you've been craving so badly. But here's a question. Are you
that's
actually
good.
better off going out to eat steak than just buying a piece of steak from the grocery store? Let's talk numbers for a sec. The hand-cut sirloin on the Roadhouse menu goes between $13.49 and $22.99, depending on location
$22.99.
and whether you go for a 6-ounce cut or a 16-ounce. In March 2025, the average US retail price sirloin steak was about $14.68 for a 16-ounce cut. That's about
Oh,
$5.50 for a 6-ounce.
that's not
Looking at
bad.
this, buying from the grocery store saves you, the consumer, around $8 for the sirloin or even more.
Hell
But you
yeah.
see, that's not the whole story. Because when you order a steak at Roadhouse, you also get 2 sides. Each of them
Oh,
cost
yeah.
between $4 and $5. Suddenly, you're seeing that $8 difference. And it's
There
more
it
than just the
is.
extra sides that you're saving. Texas Roadhouse uses USDA choice cuts of beef. These are much nicer than the select cuts found at most local grocery stores and are more similar to buying from a
Right.
butcher or specialized retailer. Comparing the cost of sirloin and ribeye from those places shows how much of a better deal you're getting at Roadhouse. A premium cut
Okay,
from a specialty
okay.
retailer or butcher
Deal God, $60 to $400 for a 20-ounce bone-in. Deal God, that is so damn high.
can be as high as $60. Suddenly, that bone-in ribeye for $30 seems like a pretty good deal right now. But that's not the only advantage to getting your steak when eating out. Roadhouse, and Longhorn for that matter, buy in bulk, which always comes out cheaper per cut rather than a single cut each time you buy steak. The food is also being prepared for you
Okay,
the exact
yeah,
right way.
yeah.
They have professional equipment, high-temperature grills, and broilers that are not typically available to most home cooks. This means
That
they get the
is
steak to the
true.
right temperature and in a way that most home cooks might not achieve. Remember, not everyone has the technique or know-how to make the perfect steak. This comes into our conversation about Gen Z and their eating out preferences. Gen Z typically chooses quality over price. Going somewhere that can cook steak the best way is more important than buying a cheaper cut and cooking it at home. Because at the end of the
That
day,
is-
steak is
yeah,
still seen as a
okay.
premium food, more so than a burger. And it's been working for them. Gen Z consisted
is
of
true.
20% of the Texas Roadhouse consumer base in 2023. It's
Hey,
safe to say that
nice.
that percentage will continue to increase due to their rising influence in the restaurant market. But hold on, we're talking about
And as older generations pass on.
Texas Roadhouse's sales increasing. How did absorbing inflation costs help them to make more money? Well, they may be taking a hit on their profit margins for their main dish, the steak, but the profit margins on other dishes are significant.
That's fried onions, potato wedges, really good. And is that mashed potatoes? Or is that mashed red potatoes?
Significantly bigger. Sides like
Hold on. Sorry to side tangent this, but what the hell is actually up with mashed red potatoes? Like, regular mashed potatoes is, you take off the skin, you boil, you mash, and there's some milk and butter done. And salt and pepper, of course. But with red potatoes, the way my family's always made them is leaving the skin on. Which I get is supposed to be making them healthier, but it just doesn't sound, well, edible. Well, I mean, I know it's edible, but for crying out loud, you're taking the skin off the potato to actually eat the meat inside. Why leave the skin on? And someone would probably be like, oh, you do the same for apples. You eat them with the skin on. That's because the skin is actually tasty.
The loaded baked potatoes cost $4 for the consumer, but it costs the chain about $1 to make. We all know how sodas cost less than $1 to make, but they're charging you $2 to $3 for it. These are the money-making items, and that is the trick. Keeping their main items at a low affordable cost, they can proudly advertise that to customers. That is what gets the tables full. And once you're in the restaurant, you're at the mercy of their other more
Again, sorry about that side tangent.
profitable dishes. But about 40 to 60% of consumers at casual diners will buy at least one extra item along with their meal, like a side or a dessert. After all, that's part of the experience. You're getting that full
like fries.
home-cooked meal feel. You're getting that mac and cheese to go with that steak. It's almost non-negotiable. This is where they make their money back while still being able to promise steak at an affordable cost. But this is by no means Texas Roadhouse's secret power. Casual diners across the US take on this strategy to increase sales and keep people coming in. Some may do it with a combo meal that's the same price as fast food chains, like Chili's and Applebee's. Olive Garden has its unlimited breadsticks and salad bar on top of the combo promotions, and even some seasonal stuff like the never-ending pasta bowl. But the thing that has Texas Roadhouse climbing up to the top and sitting on the casual diner throne is something completely different. 3 small secret ingredients have put them at the top. The first secret is customer experience.
Roadhouse
Has gone through multiple
that's 4, 2 left.
different methods to ensure the customer has the best experience possible. One of those is keeping the steak affordable, like we just talked about. But some of this is also why Texas Roadhouse has begun investing a lot of its money in the operations of its business. For example, the introduction of screen orders in the kitchen rather than paper tickets, and Roadhouse Pay. This is their way for customers to pay at the table. It might seem like a small change, but investing in this tech speeds up the payment process, which enhances the diner's experience. And on top of that, it increases table turnover. Faster table turnover equals more customers and shorter waiting times, which equals higher sales for Roadhouse and higher customer satisfaction. It's a win-win, but it's more than just tech that Roadhouse is investing in. Roadhouse is known for having long tenured employees, and this is secret number 2. This reduces training costs, but it also means that employees do their jobs well and efficiently and make minimal mistakes. Why? Because they're actually happy to be there. Imagine that! See, so many places are so focused on getting customers back, they end up neglecting employees. But by making sure they're paid well and treated well, it keeps the brand looking good and of course ensures employee and customer satisfaction. The CEO of Texas Roadhouse, Jerry Morgan, agrees and says where roadies want to work, guests want to dine. This positive workplace culture is one of the reasons the business works so well. When you look at what the others are doing, they're doing the promotions, the affordable prices, even trying to invest in tech options like Olive Garden's recent delivery partnership with Uber Eats. But what they're missing out on is the staff. We know Roadhouses now, but what about Olive Garden? Their hiring philosophy is a bit different, similar to most other casual diners actually. Their focus is to have a more relaxed atmosphere. This means the chain can hire younger, less experienced employees and keep labor costs low. While this may work from a fiscal standpoint because paying less for labor means more money for the business, having
but money-wise over the years, no.
Experienced employees can affect the experience for the consumer. More mistakes can hurt the chain. Olive Garden might say when you're here you're family, but they're more interested in keeping labor costs low and hoping unlimited breadsticks are enough to keep you loyal. Texas Roadhouse, on the other hand, actually treats their customers like family. By investing in a better experience for both them and the staff, everyone has a better time. The final secret that's been a huge success for
Roadhouse
is their community.
That's 5. One more.
Building. Because what they're serving goes beyond just the bounds of their restaurants. Texas Roadhouse locations hold an average of 4 fundraisers per month, focusing on local causes to help give back to the communities they're a part of. The average number of fundraisers for restaurants is typically between 1 and 3 a year. Roadhouse knocks more than that out every month. This is the most important secret ingredient because over 70% of consumers are more likely to visit and revisit a restaurant.
Well, damn, Roadhouse, you really actually own that seat.
That supports local charities. It shows that they actually care about more than just getting your butt in a seat. They care about your community, really their community, because that's what they've done to separate themselves from the pack. They're not just a restaurant, they're your neighbor. Roadhouse's willingness to take on some of the inflation costs proves that they care about the customer more than their bottom line. They're still investing in the staff members because they want to make them feel needed and cared for so that they want to go to work every day. And they give back to every community they're a part of so that you feel better about spending your money with them. At the end of the day, people speak with their wallets. And it's clear that what people are looking for is an experience that actually cares about their needs, both financial and personal. Texas Roadhouse overtaking Olive Garden shows us that the new restaurant trend is less about hot promotions. It's about cultivating a positive culture in and out of the restaurant. People
That's
don't
right.
want a cheap meal. They want somewhere they feel welcome. Olive Garden says that when you're there, you're family, but Roadhouse
you
means
sure?
it. I guess their slogan was telling us the real secret all along. Legendary food, legendary service. But
Oh,
hey,
hell yeah.
that's just a theory. Food
More
theory.
rolls.
Buen provecho. And hey, I forgot
Roadhouse.
to make
Hey, that is all 6. I was just waiting for that. Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Just remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox signing out. Peace.